Most everyone can remember things their mother taught them and the words of wisdom she offered. At the time, we probably rolled our eyes or just blew them off, but as we got older, we learned to realize that those words were very wise. Hopefully, our children will do the same someday. Each time I was pregnant, my mom would say, "I hope it's a girl." I would just smile and shake my head. And while there are many treasured things my mother taught me and said to me in my 33 years she was alive, the following words have touched my heart deeply. You'll never know how wonderful it is to have a daughter until you have one of your own. Joe and I knew the sex of our 3 oldest kids. Andrew, Josh, and Luke were the best little boys, and they have grown into even finer young men. But when I got pregnant with the 4th, we were determined to be surprised. So at 18 weeks, we went for the ultrasound. The technician asked if we wanted to know the sex. We told her no in unison. This is our last baby, and we want to be surprised. Then, knowing myself as well as I do, I looked her in the eye and added, "In a few minutes, I will beg you to tell me the sex of this baby. I may even cry and offer you money." "Not much," Joe said. "But please do not tell us." Well, good news. I didn't beg, cry, or try to buy off the tech, and we left completely unaware of the sex. January 22nd, 1999, eviction day, finally. I remember having a photo of our 3 handsome sons, ages 6, 4, and 1.5, on my bedside table, and the nurses asked if we knew what we were having. I told them no, and that when the baby was born, I wanted Joe to tell me the sex. Dr. G said that was his job, but I clearly pointed out who had lived with me and was on the receiving end of my emotions, whining, demands, and ridiculous cravings during 4 pregnancies. That's 160 weeks. Joe wins. During labor, there was some concern over the baby's heart rate, and my doctor told me that I could have a few more pushes and then off to a C-section. Talk about motivation. I sat up like a poked bear in hibernation and pushed with everything I had left to avoid a C-section. It worked. At 10:32 a.m., with tears in his eyes and his voice shaking, my husband spoke the most precious words to me. "Neena, it's a girl, it's a girl." Wow, I couldn't even believe my ears, and I had this feeling of being underwater and unable to hear anything else for a few moments. The nurses and even Dr. G teared up at the pure joy and surprise of the moment. She was darling, and we were immediately smitten. We started the calls to family and friends very quickly, and my mom, Nanny, was the first on the list. I will never forget this precious moment with her. The next call was to our sons. "Oh boys, it's a girl." This was followed by hoorays from all. We spent the next 30 minutes calling more family and friends, and then we had to stop. Our pediatrician came into the delivery room where I was still recovering. Well, after having 3 other children, I knew that was not normal. She congratulated us on our daughter, and then she dropped the bomb. They feared our baby girl had a syndrome. Can you even imagine the emotions of going from pure and utter joy to fear and heartbreak within 30 minutes? We were devastated and in shock. It felt unbelievable. What kind of syndrome? Are you sure? Is she okay? How do you know? What can we do? Those are just a few of the questions we had. "We fear that she has Turner syndrome," she said. We had never heard of it, and when you Google the information on the internet, it is overwhelming. The definition reads, Turner syndrome, a condition that affects only girls and women, results when a sex chromosome, the X chromosome, is missing or partially missing. Turner syndrome can cause a variety of medical and developmental problems, including short height, failure to start puberty, infertility, heart defects, certain learning disabilities, and social adjustment problems. That is terrifying information. And I can tell you that the fear of the unknown is a crippling feeling when it concerns your child. We started calling specific friends and family, asking them to pray. We never told my mom, not ever. Why worry her and steal the joy that she so richly deserved in her final years? As much as I wanted the comfort of my mother's love and prayers, there comes a time that we are called to bear the hard stuff for our elderly parents. A genetic specialist from the Kansas City Children's Mercy Hospital came to visit our daughter the next day. He talked about possible heart surgeries, kidney problems, short stature, and infertility. Infertility. That word broke my heart. Once again, I would have that feeling of being underwater and unable to hear anything else. Hot tears rolled down my face and deep sobbing began. I had loved being pregnant, giving birth, and nursing. Now my only daughter would never know this miraculous joy of giving life, and I was grieving for her loss. When the specialist left, I cried some more, and I was angry. I said to Joe, "Why didn't God answer my prayer for a healthy baby? How could this have happened?" Then Joe said something to me that would not only change my life in that moment, but for years to come and in many other situations. He said, "How do you know God didn't answer your prayers? Who are we to say that he didn't?" He was right. He's right a lot. She was alive. Many babies with TS are miscarried. The girls that survive are miracles. She wasn't in the NICU or taken directly to emergency open heart surgery like many of the TS babies are. She was cradled in her parents' arms, and she was loved beyond measure. We named her Angela, which means messenger of God. We were holding our miracle, our answered prayer, our living message. When we left the hospital, the first stop was to see my mom. The staff at the nursing home where she lives said she'd been waiting all morning with her arm resting on a pillow, waiting to hold Angela Jo, her 21st grandchild. It was a moment I will never forget, and I am so grateful she lived to experience it. At the time, I couldn't know that she would pass away just shy of Angela's first and her 80th birthday. Now it's 17 years later, and I completely understand the depth of my mom's wise words. You'll never know how wonderful it is to have a daughter until you have one of your own. Angela is a healthy, beautiful, smart, funny, and tender-hearted young woman. She has added so much spice and love to our family. Her courage and strength have helped her to overcome many challenges in life so far. Angela knows there will be more challenges along the way, and although she may not know what her future holds, she loves and trusts the one who holds her future.